Greetings, this is This, and I am me, and ever since I read a book called Sadako and the Thousand Paper Cranes in elementary school, I wanted to try to fold 1,000 paper cranes myself. I didn't ever, but I always thought that would be a cool thing to do because I liked origami. I had folded paper cranes before, and actually we were forced to read this book in school, and forced, but it was a great book, about a little girl that wants to fold 1,000 paper cranes because I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, I suppose, but that's kind of the main concept of the book. She's sick, and there's sort of legend isn't the right word, probably. They say if you can fold 1,000 paper cranes, you will be granted a wish. And so this girl is sick, and she folds 1,000 paper cranes to try and get a wish to, be healthy again. And so after we read that book in school, our class actually did sort of a collective effort to fold 1,000 cranes. And I was young at the time. The teacher would just sort of, collect the cranes in a big box. So I don't know if we actually accomplished our goal or not. I know that I was one of the kids that contributed the most. Most kids weren't really interested, but I was like folding cranes at lunchtime and stuff. So maybe I contributed into folding 1,000 cranes before, but I had never, done a whole big individual project myself before. And then ever since I started doing YouTube and was trying to think of what I would do for milestones, subscriber milestones, I knew if I ever got to 1,000 that I was going to fold 1,000 paper cranes. And I suppose if I had started way back then, I would have been done with plenty of time to spare because it took quite a long time for us to get here. But we did, and I actually wanted to sort of wait until after I got 1,000 subscribers to start the process, even though I knew it would delay this video from coming out. But I didn't want to do it preemptively, it just didn't seem right. So I did order the kit a couple of days before, I think, but it didn't even get to me until after I had reached the milestone. So first off, thank you everyone so much for 1,000 subscribers. It's been about 2 months now. So it seems a little bit, long awaited, but we'll get to that soon. And also, I just am going to say, first and foremost, I'm going to try to organize this in my thoughts as best as I can, but it was a whole process, so I might be jumping around a little bit into different places, but I will, for any of you that are not interested in the subscriber milestone aspect and you're interested in the process of folding 1,000 cranes, that will be the bulk of this video. I will be getting to it in a moment. So yes, I thought, okay, 1,000 subscribers, I will fold 1,000 paper cranes. I bought the first kit that you could find off of Amazon. I mean, it seemed the best, honestly. I think the brand was Kids Toyo or something if you're looking for it. Really, it's one of the only things that will show up if you search for 1,000 paper cranes kit or 1,000 origami cranes kit. It'll show up. Okay, so I ordered the kit. It actually, so let's talk about the kit a little bit first. Well, actually, first and foremost, no, let's talk about the kit first. So the kit, it was nice because it comes with not only 1,000 pieces in 20 different colors that are very bright and beautiful and make a wonderful gradient. It comes with 1,020 pieces of paper. So you get one extra piece of paper for each color. So if you happen to make a mistake or you lose one or something, you have an extra piece of paper. It also comes with some string and some beads in order to string up the cranes after. I don't actually know if I'm going to be doing that. I don't think I am. I don't know how I'm going to use the cranes yet, how I'm going to display them, because there are a couple of different things that I've seen that you can do. Just for decoration. I don't know if sort of like the right way to do it is with the strings, the way that they, show you in the kit, in order to like get your wish. I don't know. I'm not sure. But I just don't think I'm going to do it that way because I don't really have room to hang a big like chunk of paper cranes anywhere. And I wish that I could have had that done already. Like, I could tell you guys what I'm going to do, or like I could show a picture of like how they are displayed, but that would only prolong this whole thing even longer. So I'm sorry. This video is literally just folding these cranes and nothing else in it, because I can't even put any B-roll of the cool thumbnail that I made because I haven't actually finished making it yet at the time of recording this audio, because I have to record this audio and then I have to set this video to render and then go and finish the thumbnail in hopes that I can get everything up, well, today. So, and it's going to take possibly 7 hours to render this video. So, yeah, it's just the cranes. Sorry, it's just the cranes. But yeah, so they give you all that stuff in the kit. That's pretty cool. The small size of the paper was 7.5 centimeters square. It was a little hard to get used to at first. My first like cranes were much slower than I thought they would be. And I thought this is kind of an inconvenient size of paper to work with. But over time, I definitely got extremely used to it. So, and I think if the paper was any bigger, like the problem with the paper being any bigger is that then each crane is bigger and then your 1,000 paper cranes is bigger, which, like I said, I haven't finished the thumbnail design yet, but I believe it is going to span most of a like somewhat larger sized dining table. So if that gives you any perspective on the size, well, not really the size, but the amount of space that 1,000 cranes will take up made with 7.5 centimeter inch paper, then yeah, it's a lot. Also, the paper I said is beautiful, vibrant colors, and that make a wonderful color gradient. There are 20 colors. Let's name them all for you. These are the names that I have assigned to them in order to organize everything. And so if you're looking to point out what crane you would like to claim as your own, not your own as in you're keeping it, but okay, so I'm jumping around a little bit. This is what I said. I'm trying to keep everything organized, but it's a little complicated. So basically, what we do here for subscriber milestones is, I know everyone likes things to be pretty and aesthetic and, easy to digest nowadays. Like if this were on TikTok, this would not fly. No one would watch this. I'm showing you literally every second of every single 1,000 cranes instead of just, jump cut to, wow, now the pile's bigger. Jump cut, ooh, look, that's a pretty fold that you did there. Because the point is not for aesthetics. The point is not for enjoyment of watching. The point is to show you, like I said, scale and to give you perspective. This is scrunched down as much as I could get it without having to render it 5 million times. This is how long it takes, and this is how big of an amount 1,000 is, okay? So it's to give the perspective of 1,000 subscribers, in a tangible way, 1,000 cranes. And this is what I do, we just give perspective on the number. And I also let everyone pick which one they want to be. We did a 300-piece puzzle for 300 subscribers, and everyone picked which puzzle piece they wanted to be. And so for 1,000 cranes, you get to pick which crane you want to be. Now, it's going to be quite difficult for you to pick an individual crane, I would imagine, unless you are crazy and you want to go through and calculate the exact number that it would be. I was not going to number these myself individually. There was no way. I would have been driven mad. So, basically, you can just pick your favorite number from 1 to 1,000, and you can be that number, and you can try and find out which color it's going to be, like which color range. Or maybe you really like one of these colors, And so you could pick a number that would fall within that range. Basically, the way that the numbering would go is the first quadrant, the upper left. So we started with purple. I don't know if purple is still on the screen or if we've moved on to the next chunk. But basically, that first part that had started with purple, that would be 1 through 50. And then when you move over to the next chunk, that would be 51 through 100. And then the bottom left would be 101 through 150. And then the bottom right would be 151 through 200. Okay, so that's how the numbering would go if you really wanted to find your exact number of crane. Because that's the order that I folded them in. I folded them with like a backwards rainbetical order, because I thought that if I was going to string them on, I would want to string the purple at the bottom, like the purple wood, you would string it on first. So like it would make sense for me to fold them in that order because I was going to, you get what I'm saying? And also I thought it would be better if I was going to have Valentine's nails at some point for them to be near either the oranges or the pinks near the end. Because like I said, I started this about 2 months ago. I started this in February. I believe February 1st is when I had received the kit finally in the mail after a couple of days, and I started folding cranes. It did not take me 2 months to do this whole process, though. There was a big break, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, so yeah, that's how you can, everyone please pick a crane or pick a number before someone else picks it, because, you don't want your favorite one to get picked. But oh yes, so first, let me tell you what the colors are in case you wanted to say them specifically. And I'll go by chunks. So like there was 4 showing on screen at a time, which was also for a very good reason that I'll explain later. So in the first chunk, you had purple, dark blue, blue, and sky blue. Next, you had light blue, green, mint, and light green. Then next, you had yellow-green, yellow, dark yellow, and light orange. Next, orange, dark orange, red-orange, and red. And then lastly, pink-red, bright pink, pink, and light pink. Okay, that's how I decided to name these colors. They make a wonderful gradient, but the downside is that the colors that are more pigmented, that have more saturation, they were rubbing off onto my desk, and I have now somewhat ruined my white desk that I use for filming with a beautiful white background is now stained and ruined. It's rubbed away a little bit over time. Maybe you could notice when I was folding the purple ones, the desk underneath where I was folding got a very purple, like very stained, and you don't see that continue on throughout. But then it gets to a point where you see like a very like orangey, yellowy orangey stain, because those were the colors that definitely rubbed off more. But it was like the more I folded there, the more it would rub away. But like I tried to clean it, and like I couldn't fully clean it ever. So maybe over time it will fade if I really just like make sure to just scrub like often. I don't know, maybe I can get rid of it. But yes, so be careful of that, okay? Because some of the colors will stain the surface that you're working on. And also, it was rubbing off on my fingers. It was rubbing off on my nail polish. Like the tops of all my nail polish were getting like orangey yellow when I was folding the oranges and the yellows. That would wash away after I washed my hands for the most part. But the desk was not cleaning very easily. So that is the downside of this kit, is that some of the papers, and those papers were also harder to fold. They were a little bit thicker. It was just a little bit less of like a easy, smooth gliding process, whereas some of the ones that were like the light colored ones were like super easy, like super quick to fold. Okay, that is pretty much all for the kit. Now I'm gonna sort of go back back to talking about, so the general premise here, right? Fold 1,000 cranes and you will get a wish. And so I said, I'm going to fold 1,000 cranes when I get 1,000 subscribers. And I'm doing it like this in a very quick manner. Basically what I'm saying is I understand that this is not really maybe intent isn't the right word, but this is not how origami should be done. This is not how getting your wish should be done, I would say. Like the meaning, the concept. I can't think of the right word. But you should have intent behind every fold. You should be folding something beautiful, right? And here I am trying to speed run this. I get that that's not like the vibe. That's the best word I can think of right now. I know that there's a better word, but that's not the vibe, right? But I did it anyway. But I would just like to acknowledge that yes, this is probably not something that ideally should be something that's speed run if you're thinking about it in terms of like the traditional concept of it, right? If you're just thinking of it as like a fun project or like a cool decorative thing that you'll end up with in the end, then yeah, go for it. Fold them however you want. But I'm saying, like, by the traditional standards of like a beautiful, origami endeavor, obviously you should not be speedrunning it. And because the other thing is, some of my cranes came out better than others because I really was trying to get it done somewhat quickly, because I knew that, every day that it wasn't done was a day that it would be past 1,000 subscribers that I didn't have the video out for it yet. And so, yes, let's get into the timeline here. So I started, I believe, right at the start of February, and my first cranes were slow. I think the group of purple cranes took me, I know it took me the longest to fold. There's 50 cranes per color. And those ones definitely took me the longest because it was the first group that I did. But specifically, like the first 1 or 2 cranes that I folded took me an exceptionally long time considering everything. Considering the point that I ended up getting up to later on. So I think they took me about 5 minutes, and I folded cranes before, but it just, I don't know. I was folding the cranes and I was like, why do my hands act as if I've never folded anything in my life before? That's how slow it seemed. But I quickly got up to a nice pace of about just over 3 minutes per crane. And so I was, folding. And the other thing is I was folding in this specific location on my desk, with every single light that I could find and have aimed down to try and make the, area brighter. And in chunks of an hour, because I thought, if I pause at all, that's wasted recording space. I have a camera that can only record an hour at a time, and then I have to transfer the footage onto my computer, and then I can record for another hour and then transfer the footage. And so I was like, okay, in order to maximize my time, I should never be stopping and I should never be pausing for anything. I should just fold cranes nonstop for an hour straight, and then I can take a break. And so that's what I was doing. And as I got faster, as I got better at it, as the days went on, in this first week about, I got down to, maybe at this point I was down to just under 3 minutes. And so I was folding cranes for anywhere from 2 to 3 hours a day. And eventually I did relent to, okay, I will pause one time in the middle, because sometimes my shoulders would seem to get a little sore. Sometimes I was like, I just really wish that I had a drink of water right now. So I would fold and it wasn't an hour. It's actually about 56 minutes that I could record before I'd have to pause it. So I would record for 28 minutes, and then I would pause it, take a little break, and then I would record for 28 minutes again. And so I would end up recording anywhere from 4 to 6 times a day, because that would end up being 2 to 3 hours. And it was around the like 10 or 11 or 12 day mark. I don't remember exactly. But so, over 1 week, but less than 2, when I decided I needed to take a break because something had happened. And that something that had happened was my eyes and my vision were maybe... something was wrong. Something was, and it was like there's just eye strain, I've been looking down at the same spot with a bright light shining, how like you're not supposed to look at the same spot for too long because your eyes will get strained. You're supposed to like take breaks from like looking at the computer screen to like move your eyes around the room and focus on like further away objects and stuff so you don't experience eye strain. I was like, so this is major eye strain, right? Because my eyes are fixed on this one spot with a bright light shining right on them for hours at a time, a day in and day out. And also at the same time, I was working on all of the stuff for the BlushCat Podcast. If you guys don't know, the BlushCat Podcast is a K-pop themed podcast that has recently been rejuvenated. Link is in the description. It's a podcast that I co-host. And yeah, like I said, link in the description if you are interested in K-pop and you want to go and listen to that. But yeah, I was also at the same time, like when I wasn't folding cranes, the other big project that I was working on was all of the like graphics and everything that we did for the new BlushCat visuals. So I was doing a lot of staring at the computer screen as well. And I'm not really a person that gets eye strain usually. So I was like, wow, this is just unbelievably major eye irritation. Let me take a couple of days, or eye strain. Let me take a couple of days and not fold cranes. And so I did that. And I didn't fold cranes and I didn't use the computer for a couple of days. And, they got better, kind of. They were very, very dry, very bloodshot. And just, I don't know, maybe my vision was a little bit bad in one eye. Not vision, but like, just basically what we think now happened, and by we I mean me, myself. I finally realized, because it was like, okay, I'll go back to using my computer after the couple of days. I was like, I'll go back to using my computer, but I'm still not going to go back to folding cranes yet because I tried to do like it one time and I was like, yeah, no, it still doesn't seem like this is good for my eyes. Like I could just tell that it wasn't good for my eyes. And then I finally realized after like at least a week of resting them, that my light that is right above my hands, and basically right in front of my face, it's sort of like the light that I'd always point down when I'm like doing logic puzzle solutions and stuff. The light that I have shining down, is like an LED light with like a blue. It has 3 color tones, but the brightest one is like a blue color tone. Like it's like it's not like a warm toned light, it's a cool toned light. And there's a lot of basically blue light from it. And so I realized, I think it wasn't just a bright light. It wasn't just staring at the same spot. It was the blue light from that light literally damaging my eyes, I believe, because of the ungodly amount of exposure that that they were experiencing in those about 10 days. So I don't know, long story short, I think maybe I permanently damaged my eyes a little bit, but like it's fine. I can still see perfectly fine and everything. Like it's fine, but possibly they're kind of permanently damaged, but whatever. I can't say any more than that because I don't actually know, but I'm just basically what I'm saying is don't try this at home. Okay? If you're going to fold these cranes like this, don't do it in this sort of setting where you're doing it like for filming purposes, because that was the problem. If I were just folding 1,000 cranes and I could just fold them throughout the day, I could fold them wherever I was, like, I'm gonna like, go over here and just like have a flat surface and fold some cranes, and then now I'm in a different room, fold some cranes. Like, I have a break of doing something for 2 seconds, like fold another crane. That would have been totally fine, and I would totally do this again if I was folding them in that way. But I would not do it again folding them in this way where I have, sessions in a specific place for a specific time where I just fold nonstop. I would not do that again. For the purposes of the video, that's why I did it that way, but it's not a very good way to do it in terms of safety, I don't think. But yes, so once I realized, okay, it's probably the blue lights, that was bad. How am I ever going to get back to folding these cranes though? I ordered some blue light glasses, and then they finally arrived, and around March 10th, I think. So basically like a month. There was a month in between when I stopped and then when I started up again. I stopped around February 10th through 12th or something like that, and then I started back up again somewhere around like that second week of March. I started back up again with my glasses that block 100% of blue light, and I continued onward, and my eyes most definitely experienced much less strain at the very least once I had the glasses. So, like I said, I started with, so overall it took about probably like 4 weeks. 4 weeks maybe. I don't know the exact time because I didn't measure it that way. And every time that I recorded footage and then scrunched it down and rendered it, I deleted the original footage that would have said like the dates of when it was recorded. I had to delete it over time because I was going to run out of space if I kept it all. So yeah, I don't know the exact dates, but it took probably about 4 weeks. If I had the pace that I had towards the end, it probably could have been done in much faster, maybe even like 2 weeks. Because the pace at the end, I got to really, honestly, at the very, very end, it was even quicker, but like, I'd say for a good bulk of the time, my speed was about a minute 50, well, a minute 40 to a minute 50, like somewhere in that range per crane. So, I was going much faster than I was before, and, I did the math, and it seems like if at my fastest time, it would have taken like 33 hours or something like that total. And at my slower times, it would have taken maybe around like 40 hours. So I'm estimating overall, it probably took around 35 hours of folding for me to fold all of these cranes. So yeah, that is the timeline. And I don't really know how much else I have to say. I feel like maybe I'm definitely forgetting something. But, yeah. Oh, I know what to say. It's about having the four colors on screen at once. So this was basically what I had to do, okay? If you wanted any palatable length of video here. Because I did the math before I had even, really got into this process at all. And I would have to show each crane folding for 3 seconds. Like, I would have to fold a crane in 3 seconds. Next, fold a crane in 3 seconds. And if I showed all 1,000 with only 3 seconds time per crane, it would still be a 50-minute long video, right? And the amount of rendering that I would have to do, because you can only scrunch down, at least in the program I use, I can only scrunch down the footage so much, like compress it so that it's going sped up. I can only speed it up about 4 times. It's original length. I can make it 4 times faster. And then I have to render it and then take the new like fast clip and then make that 4 times faster, And so to get it to 3 seconds would be insane. And I wanted, like I said, I know it's not the most visually pleasing thing probably, but I wanted to show the sped up thing rather than just, jump cuts to progress, because the point is for you guys to see how unbelievably long it takes. So yeah, I wanted to show them without cutting a lot of stuff out, but I'd have to, speed everything up to being 3 seconds per crane, which was ridiculous. So the alternative was to put 4 on the screen at once so that I didn't have to speed them up that much. So that's why we have 4 on at a time. And if you'll notice, at some points I try to show off my nails. It's been sped up so much that you can't see them anymore. But I will say the first nails, like nail polish design that I had just done super quickly so that I could start folding cranes. And so it's that green, the green nails. Those chipped off like immediately. Like the second I started folding, they were chipping off absolutely everywhere. And I thought, wow, oh my God, folding paper cranes absolutely ruins your nails. This is insane. But no, it was just that it was super, super cheap old nail polish that it was like 2 layers of nail polish, and one of the layers was from Claire's. And I had no top coat or anything. So like terrible. They chipped off like crazy. It was terrible. But then all the other nail designs definitely had much more, they didn't chip off nearly as easily. This last nail design, it lasted super well. It actually still looks great on my fingers right now, but you'll be able to see it in a moment clearer. And I didn't even really notice this. It wasn't intentional. But my last nail design that I did is sort of an homage to the early 2000s, with a little butterfly stencil print design. That yes, I hand drew myself. So yeah, they're very early 2000s, very like, retro isn't exactly the word yet. Hasn't been that old, but, they're a throwback, if you will. And I knew it was an homage to the 2000s when I chose to do this nail design. I really just wanted to do something that was like pink and orange because I knew I was going to be folding the pink cranes at the end. But the connection I didn't make was that it's kind of like an homage to the next 2000, well, not the next 2000, but basically we are at 1,000 cranes now. My nails look like early 2000s, so let's get to 2,000 subscribers. I said I'm at 1,000 cranes. I meant 1,000 subscribers, whatever. But anyway, our time here is coming to a close. I said most of what I needed to say, I guess, and anything that I forgot, I don't know, I'm sorry. But so I will leave you with something that's going to seem excruciatingly slow at this point. But I will leave you with the final 1,000th crane being folded in real-time speed, not sped up, which, like I said, originally seemed very fast, but now that you've been watching sped up footage for as long as you have, this one's gonna seem slow. But this is my final crane being folded. I'll even left in the ASMR paper folding noises in the background, and it took approximately 1 minute and 27 seconds to fold this crane. You'll see me take the crane away and then bring it back because it was the final crane. I couldn't leave the head that ugly. I had to just fix it a little bit, but I wanted the time to be good because I would leave the heads that ugly sometimes for time's sake. That's why I'm saying it maybe wasn't the best way to fold 1,000 cranes because some of them I made ugly. But anyway, 1 minute, 27 seconds, not including the part after where I just tried to make it a little bit prettier. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers, for listening, for watching, for picking your own crane and leaving it in the comments below. And stay tuned for the last crane, but bye-bye now.